Wrestling Podcast. And his name is John Cena.
Yeah, Kyle and I have just been, I think, side-eye within our text messaging thread.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing that you're going to be wrong about so much shit today. But
that is all good. I mean, like, I'm here to provide
provide the entertainment. All right, it's why we love you. Mm-hmm. It is Friday, September 16th, 2016, and you're listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Ray.
And I'm Kyle.
So we used to be co-workers.
You like how I changed the script?
Yeah, and learned that we all love pro wrestling. This podcast gives us the space to shoot on all the aspects of our favorite pastime without the confused looks we often got from the rest of our office. Oh man, this is gonna be painful.
Yeah, we get no looks now.
just like stab the knife and twist it a little
full
bit.
Full unemployment, no pants mode. This podcast is all about giving you consistent, bite-sized commentary on the world of wrestling.
I actually just looked to see if you had pants on.
I got them.
Cool. Sorry, made you lose
WWE, expanding rosters and pants, and NXT, though we'll occasionally touch on indies and the international scene.
Every week we'll either recap the previous week's WWE shows, specials, pay-per-views, takeovers, etc., or we'll hold a roundtable discussion on a particular topic. This week we'll be recapping all of the crazy shit that has happened on mostly Raw, but also a little bit of Smackdown and that little network exclusive pay-per-view they had, no big deal.
Yeah.
Backlash.
Yeah.
Or how... Backlash.
Backlash.
Because all their eyes turned blue.
Yes. All right, so Raw. So it was kind of like poor timing. A couple weeks here because like our situation's been crazy. We didn't have a podcast last week. We all got laid off. We're looking for jobs. People have interviews, all that shit. And then Kevin Owens became the Universal Champion.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
Show some respect. We're talking about the longest reigning Universal Champion in history.
That's true.
Yeah, we are on week, day 14 or day 15?
Jericho likes to remind us of where we're at.
Oh
New
God,
best friend Jericho.
I fucking love it.
It's so good. So Finn Balor's hurt, and then there's various matches leading up to a fatal four-way between Big Cass, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns.
So like just initially, what did you guys like these four going in like to fight for the essentially really the first Universal title?
I was a little surprised that Big Cass was included. Mm-hmm. I thought that was weird, especially because why would they end up pushing him without Enzo?
Yeah.
I assumed Rollins was going to be the one to win it. I don't know what you think, Kyle.
Man, I feel like we talked about this a little bit on one of the other podcasts. Because I remember talking shit about how that episode went down.
Well, I mean, mind you, we were talking about who won, like their chance to get into the Fatal 4-Way. Like we left, like we didn't have a podcast for the actual match itself.
Yeah, like Finn Balor had gotten hurt, and that was the last time we talked about
few listeners we have because it's been a haze. But yeah, I did kind of presume Rollins would win, and I'm very excited the way in which it all sort of played out.
Yes.
It's some new blood for the story there. It was nice to the Triple H swerve.
Yeah.
Was cool.
So Cass gets beat, I think, by KO.
Yeah, he gets eliminated pretty like the earliest of the others.
And then the match keeps going on, and then all of a sudden, like kind of out of nowhere, like the ring is kind of cleared.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Triple H comes in and pedigrees Reigns.
Yeah.
And
that all seems legit.
Yeah, and we're all like losing our goddamn minds, right? Because at this point, I'm like, there's still at like a third chance that Roman's gonna win it.
Yeah.
And he's still being pushed as like the guy. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't meant to be a joke. Like it's just kind of shitty the way this whole thing is working out. Yeah. But I like to see him first pedigree Roman, I think was an excellent choice.
Yeah.
Because he could have done Rollins first and then Roman.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a weird swerve.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Roman gets pinned by Rollins, which to me was just like, oh, okay, yeah, like Triple H.
Of course, yeah.
And then I just could not believe, like, I just didn't see it coming ever, and it, like, I was...
Kyle looks like he's in a candy store now.
I was giddy when it happened, like, I was It was awesome. I got spoiled that Owens was going to win it. I just thought it was going to be like Owens doing something to Triple H to win it. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I thought it would lead to more immediate face turn for Rollins, but we have not really seen that. Like true face turn, not like this typical WWE of your like recent time face turn where it's like an insurgency face turn.
Yeah.
Where, like everyone cheers for the guy, but that's not fitting the story, right?
Yeah, for me, the way I usually see it, like a really good face turn is like slow and deliberate. Mm-hmm. So like you kind of like if you just do it like, oh, he's fighting bad guys now, it kind of doesn't work as well. But if you're like, he's still an asshole, he's still like not there, and just slowly but surely until he makes a choice. Mm-hmm. He slowly just makes like a big statement that goes against his previous character. Mm-hmm. Whereas like, okay, right now, like he's not really face, but he's fighting the asshole.
Well, and it's interesting because it's not just black and white anymore. Yeah. And it hasn't been for a while, but this is a good example of it where Seth Rollins is heel and Stephanie is heel. Yeah. But Seth Rollins does not like Stephanie because he assumes that she was involved with it and everything. Yeah. But Kevin Owens is also heel. Yeah. And he hates everyone. So you have these like interconnected feuds amongst different heels. It's not just all of a sudden like only good guys and bad guys, which is really nice as a dynamic for where these characters are going. I want to talk about like Owens' expression in the match, and then later kind of finding out that he found out in the match.
Yeah, so this started,
which could all be a work. I mean, it could just be like them saying this because you want to believe that this is how it actually happened. But
so I found out that this mostly kind of came about via Taz's podcast, where Taz is he watched the match and he was like, if you watch during the match. There is a point in which Triple H like whispers something to Kevin Owens when he puts him in the corner, and Kevin Owens doesn't react. Like he just kind of sits there and doesn't do anything. And then Triple H does a pedigree on Rollins and lays him out, and like Triple H is pointing to him, and like seriously, he's just sitting there like. No, like real reaction on his face.
It's more shock than anything that he's just like, wait, what is happening?
So there's a good, huge, long moment of like Kevin Owens not actually like doing anything,
and then he kind of pinned Rollins reluctantly. Yeah, just looking at Triple H like, I'm supposed to be doing this. Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, so I the initial thought I'd heard from Taz's podcast. And mind you, for a guy that has insight into WWE,
I just want it to be true.
Honestly, like that would be.
I really hope it is.
I could like the only way I could counter that would be Owens is such a good actor. Yeah. That and theatrical person that he could just have been doing the best job at selling shock
at work. Yeah.
Because like that also would be the directive storyline wise is to act shocked. Yeah. So like he could be the best at seeming shocked when he is shocked, or he could be selling it really well, and you never know, right? It's not like if it were Roman Reigns, I think we'd be able to tell a difference. Yeah, because Roman Reigns like doesn't know how to do anything, so his shock would probably translate a little bit better.
So right now, like that is all leading to going into Clash of Champions, where he is now going to be facing Rollins for the title.
I also want to point out that I love that the internet basically shut up about bitching about the look of the title as soon as Kevin Owens won it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, guys, shut up. Like, Kevin Owens called this 3 years ago with Everest and the Young Bucks and said he's the champion of the universe. Yeah. We're all happy. Let's just go home.
Yeah. Awesome. It was too perfect.
Let's talk about the women.
The slot fighting between Charlotte and Dana.
Yeah, but it's like... It's interesting because the slap fighting was always terrible with back when they were divas, right? Yeah. Because it was just, women slap each other because that's how women fight. But this is so different. Yeah. And I don't necessarily know how to like describe it or react to it. Like I fucking hate Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like, But hate her as a character. Like obviously I'm a huge fan of Charlotte. Yeah. But yeah. Any thoughts on kind of where the storyline's going, Kyle?
I like the whole necessary evil thing with Dana.
Yeah,
that's a good way to go. Like, Charlotte clearly is, like, kind of done with her.
Yeah.
But also, Charlotte's, like, cold and calculating and knows she needs her. So that part's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, Dana can't stand up on her own right now.
Yeah.
But they're nearing the end of this alignment.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see where they take that one.
Yeah, and then again, it kind of goes into my point of when you do face turns as opposed to heel turns, it's not usually sudden and shocking. Like, you know, Data's not like all of a sudden, you know, switching over.
You get screwed over, hatchet jobbed in some way, and then everyone feels bad for you.
Yeah, so just like you keep getting screwed over, and make it slow and deliberate until finally crack, and then the crowd goes wild.
I'd actually like to see Dana stay heel and then hope for the eventual Sasha heel turn, and then Dana just aligns herself with Sasha.
Oh,
that would be cool.
Fuck that! Yeah, I'm good with that.
Speaking of Sasha, so she does this whole heartfelt promo about like where you think that she's potentially injured and she's not going to be wrestling for a while, and then does the bank statement on Dana and says, "Well, the bad news I got is for Charlotte." Blah blah blah. I hate face Sasha.
Yep.
I hate it. Like, it's
unproven.
No, and she comes out, she does the whole, like, oh, look, I'm a legit boss. It's like if Cena came out every week but wasn't allowed to script his own stuff.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. She has a one-dimensional character, and she's just kind of going through the motions. And I'm going into Clash of Champions rooting for Charlotte because I don't want Sasha to win it.
Yeah.
I don't want her to be a face.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because it's a lot of, like, in NXT, as a heel, she's very dynamic.
Yes.
There's a lot to her. There's a lot of facets. In NXT, she was never a face. Mm-hmm. Even when she fought Bayley, she went above and beyond to establish, no, let me fuck with Izzy and let you remind you that I'm not with you people. Mm-hmm. And so to me, like, she's had no time to do to do real face work on a smaller stage. Mm-hmm. So it's to me, it's super one-dimensional. If she's, her being such an Eddie Guerrero fan, like, I think she needs to kind of take a page out of his book.
Watch some tape.
Like, Eddie was still a bad guy, even though he was a good guy. Mm-hmm. Like, he was still doing a lot of shit that was really dickish, but it was just more funny.
Like the New Day.
Yes. So, like, I think it's really hard to be a face. It's really hard to write a face. And that takes a lot more work. Like,
they've got, like, 5 fucking heels now. This is a problem. Mm-hmm. Because Nia is doing squash matches. Mm-hmm. And she's gonna be owed her, like, spot in terms of your keeping the seat warm transitionary pay-per-view before Rumble, like, like, that's where you throw, like, the squash idiots like Ryback or Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, if the current champion is still Charlotte and she's obviously the best heel, like, what do you do there? Yeah. They could do heel versus heel, and Charlotte just athleticism is better than Nia Jax's bigness or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, and then if you just have Bayley fight everyone, that's just really hard, though. You know, she's the only sort of face you got, right? And if you want to transition, like, I don't know where they put Sasha if they transition her back.
It's kind of hard when you only have 6
healed themselves into a corner
on the roster.
Yeah.
You've got 2 people in the mid card and then potentially 4 people in the upper card.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's my fridge.
And then, like, on the flip, it almost, like, I take this back to they didn't divvy up the draft well, because if you look at SmackDown, they've got a bunch of faces that some of them they forced to be heels that have no business being heels, right?
Yes.
And it's like, it's just a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
So, not to get too ahead of ourselves there, because, like, we're going to talk about SmackDown as well, but, like, so... Yeah, I don't know what they do with Sasha. I agree with Brittany that it's not really working. I don't know, but I'll be interested to see how they book this shit going forward, because...
it's problematic.
It's problematic.
Yeah. So, other parts of the show that are definitely worth mentioning is goddamn Jericho.
He's the best.
Jericho is...
They got him in a sweet spot right now.
Yeah.
He puts on great matches. He's doing his heel thing. He's enhancing these people. Yeah, it's great.
And it's funny, too, because Jericho is so much older than everyone else. Like, Jericho's from the generation of Triple H and Foley and everybody else. And yet, he can work the matches, and he keeps changing his gimmick all the time. Like even from like 4 or 5 months ago, it's totally different.
I do like the little part about how both Jericho and Owens refer to Tom Phillips as the wrong name. Like, it's just
so good.
Yeah, it's one of those little like detail things that they totally capture.
Yeah,
and then
the Super Friends are so fucking amazing.
I saw the title for one of the most recent Jericho podcasts and I was like, and my best friend Kevin Owens. Like, it's just like full kayfabe all the time. I love it.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I want to make a mention of like the Alicia Fox and Nia feud, not necessarily because it's good, but because I like that we're not falling into the tropes of women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Like Alicia Fox said that she had her friend who was a jobber against Nia Jax and Nia beat the shit out of her. So now they're feuding because she hurt her friend.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like I didn't really think about it until I stepped back. I was like, wait, why are they feuding? Oh, they're feuding because of friendship. It's not over some dumb boy.
Yeah.
And there's actually like a goal to this feud.
Yes. Or it's not she has a spotlight and I want it. That's such an overdone diva gimmick storyline, and this was great. Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, like get that writing, get the dynamics of the writing. It does a lot. Mm-hmm. The metaphor. Oh man,
this was weird. Like you saw the whole Enzo giving birth to a baby thing, right?
I actually didn't see that.
Oh my god! I hope it got cut for the Hulu thing.
No, it's there.
It's there?
Yeah.
I kind of I hated it.
Yeah.
I think this was my big concern with Enzo and Cass moving up to the main roster is that when they only had to come up with material once a month, it was really good.
Yeah.
But I think now that they have to do it on a weekly basis, it's a bit of a stretch.
They're gonna have some misses.
They are.
Yeah. It's funny too because like you gotta remember like Rock and Austin, like as much as they show their highlight reel of like great stuff, they had bad weeks. Mm-hmm. They had really bad weeks. Mm-hmm. Like there were really annoying bits that they all did, but it's like week by week by week. They can't.
I like how even when it's weak, Enzo still commits fully to it. Like he carried the baby out of the ring and handed it to someone in the front, in one of the front seats, and then like patted it on the head and then walked back.
Yeah,
it was just super weird.
I do love that Saxon mentions like I think that was the first birth we've ever seen on TV on WWE, and then Corey was like, no. Little do you forget that Mae Young has given birth to a hand.
A hand.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, well, way to throw that back there. Oh.
Yeah. Know the product, Byron.
Yeah.
Shit.
So that was Raw. Let's talk about what's been going on with SmackDown for the past month.
What's been going on with SmackDown is that Ray's been watching it and telling us it's not worth tuning into. And then, based on Backlash, I kind of called him out on that. Like, the Usos turned heel.
Yes.
That's kind of a big fucking deal.
Okay.
Like, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan are hurt. And are out of the tag team picture. Like, Ray, you are a shitty wrestling fan.
I am a very...
Wow, it's getting real. All
right, let's talk about SmackDown. Okay. So...
Hold on. All right. If you were going to say, like, you know, pound for pound or whatever, where's the writing been better? Raw or SmackDown?
Raw. Pound for pound.
With your hour of dead weight bullshit a week?
Let's talk about Alicia Fox's, like, that one thing that they did really, really well. Mm-hmm. And let's talk about Carmella's turn. Mm-hmm. Carmella's turn is an old gimmick. It is an old storyline of, like, she has my spotlight, I want it. Mm-hmm. It's a super one-dimensional reason to turn. Mm-hmm. Not only that, on top of that, when she did it, it was not against the fans, it was just against her. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's a weak heel move. Like, you want to not only hurt that person, but also be like, I don't care what you think. Like, the Usos turn was great in that they turned and then immediately went to the mic and be like, we gave you 6 years of good shit and you're going to just, like, betray us for these guys? Like,
doesn't that mean the writing for SmackDown was good?
For some things, yes.
Right, and the same thing would go for Raw. Some of the writing on Raw is terrible.
Yeah, but, like, watching it week after week, like, you saw the first week. Mm-hmm. You saw the second week. Like, it wasn't good. It progressively got bad, but, like, yes, the 2 weeks before...
I just like poking the bear at this point.
Right.
I mean, the point, what I'm getting at here is, like, dude, they're about the same.
Yes.
No.
We're watching Raw to, like, tradition, and, like, I think it's, like, a 51-49 thing. Yeah. And with that extra hour of dead weight, that's why it's easier to be like, you know what, pound for pound, I might get more entertainment out of SmackDown. It's not as one-sided as you think. The problem is, I don't have time to watch both.
Yeah. So here's the thing. when a year from now, when we talk about what happened in Raw and SmackDown,
we eventually have our review podcast of like,
Yeah.
okay, we had the draft, then what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we talk about what happened on Raw in the last month of like the crazy shit with Kevin Owens, with Triple H, with Jericho, with all these things that are happening, and then we go to what's going on SmackDown, what do you think you're going to remember? Because I guarantee you're not going to remember any of this like 3 or 4 months from now. AJ Styles, yes.
That was the point I was
AJ
It
Styles
takes a lot for you to even remember shit on Raw.
You don't think you're not going to remember like the stuff with Owens, like him?
That would be the stuff I remember.
Yeah.
Right, but we just picked out one for SmackDown. And the point I'm making is that they're a lot more even than you're giving them credit for. Like you're just like very easily willing to just write off SmackDown, right? As we're about to now go into a review of the SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, which we should actually get to.
Yeah, we should talk about this.
Oh yeah,
so,
let's just talk about it.
Women's title match, 6-pack challenge. You've got all of these sort of little feuds building. You've got the Carmella and Nikki Bella thing. By the way, I really like that they took the mic away from Carmella.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it now. But they're sort of feuding a little bit, and then you've got Becky Lynch, who's amazing, and I went into this match expecting Becky to win it, either Becky or Nikki.
Yeah.
One of the two. And I was happy that Becky won it.
Absolutely.
There was a horrible spot with Naomi and Natty where they were trying to do this like turn over the top rope and flip each other out, and they missed it, tried to set up for it again, and then missed it, and it was just awkward. And I'm like, that it's not necessarily like how good are you on the mic or how good are you as, you know, a technician, but when something fails, how quickly can you adapt to it? Like, don't keep trying to sit there and try the same fucking move.
Yeah. This kind of goes back into like how some wrestlers prefer to have everything choreographed and some do a lot of ad-lib, because there are the moments where shit doesn't go right. What do you do?
Yeah, it's like you may have a preference, but you have to be able to adapt.
Yep.
And I think that was like, I don't enjoy watching Natty. I think we're all kind of in the same camp with that. Yep. Naomi could be good, but I think she's in the camp of like Billie Kay, where she needs to be wrestling people better than her.
Yep.
So Becky Lynch wins the title. Super happy. Did you see what the title looked like?
Yeah.
It looked very much like a toy. I don't know if you guys thought that as well.
Because it's blue and white.
Well, it's not because it's blue and white. It seemed very stiff and then had like divots on the back of it. It basically looked like they went over to the merch booth and bought one and then put it there. And I was trying to think about this later, like watching the tag title match, and I'm like, okay, well, is it just like the strap is plastic or is it just really stiff? Maybe it was thrown in a suitcase all folded up, like, I don't know. And then the tag titles, which are also brand new, looked totally fine and worn in.
Yeah.
So it was weird. It kind of, I had a hard time paying attention to Becky's moment because I was looking at how weird this title looked.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, I mean, as much as the women are kind of lacking on SmackDown, I think they did the best they possibly could.
Yeah. So this is both one of the things I really liked and one of the things I didn't like. Was the tag team titles.
Okay.
So you've built up for this entire time for a month. Gable and Jordan.
Yes.
And the crowd is fucking going nuts and buying tickets to see Gable and Jordan.
Yep.
And they didn't get hurt. Like, they didn't get written off because they actually got hurt. They got written off because they did not want them to win the titles right away. Like,
Which is fine.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I'm okay with them not winning the titles right away. But if I'm buying tickets to Backlash, which will likely be, like, months from there, like, there's things I'm going to want to see. I'm going to want to see AJ. I'm going to see Ambrose. I'm going to want to see Cena. I'm going to want to see American Alpha. Like, there are things that I'm going to want to see. Even, like, what's Randy Orton. And, like, a lot of those guys weren't there at the show.
You look like you have thoughts.
I mean, I was just doing the math in my head. Like, they had at most 2 months. If you did the draft, lived there, and immediately bought the tickets. So, like, I think that could have just been a converted house show.
That's what I actually think it was. Yeah. Is that because they have their schedule laid out for the whole year?
Yeah.
Because you have to in
bought
advance.
house show tickets. So they've probably got some extra buy-ins because it turned into a network exclusive. Right. Probably the other way around. But I could see if that were the case, like, that argument kind of holds.
Yeah. But when they Usos went heel, like, I really enjoyed it. I love what they immediately got on the mic. They fought the Hype Bros. To go
I
to the
love me
finals.
some Hype Bros.
Is your point that you didn't think there was another tag team that should be champions outside them, and you're annoyed because like the only reason they didn't get it is because they didn't want their champs right away?
I'm not annoyed that they didn't win the titles. I'm annoyed that they weren't in the pay-per-view. Like they're a premier attraction and they're fun to watch. Like, and it's your first SmackDown pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a missed opportunity. Even if they didn't win, like, there's a lot of ways to write it to still get Heath Slater over because I love me some Heath Slater.
Yes, I am. Okay, I'm so happy about that.
Yes.
Right? Like, Heath Slater has been shit on by
here's
this company
where
for years.
you gotta give them credit for writing a good story over multiple weeks.
I'm not saying. Here's the thing.
It's over multiple years, arguably. Like,
but like they,
Yes.
But the consistent screen time in a way that people who like don't pay attention as much would actually notice.
Like the fact he didn't get drafted, and then this is the result of that.
Yeah, like that. You gotta give Devil its due.
Look, I'm not saying that it was shit.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it was shit, but I'm not gonna say that it was as good as the product that Raw's been putting out.
I think part of our very strong feelings for American Alpha is because we watch them come up through NXT.
Fuck yeah!
And as I've mentioned before, the crowd for SmackDown and Raw is not necessarily the NXT crowd. Usos have been giving us good shit for 6 years, and they sell more merch.
Yeah,
you're gonna put them in the title shot more so than you are American Alpha. As a business, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with it as a fan. Like, I would have loved to see Gable and Jordan, but whatever.
Yeah, anyway, it was a great moment that happened. It was right up there in excitement level for me as for when Zack Ryder won.
Yes. I feel like
very similar.
What they did for Heath Slater is what they should have did with Sandow.
Because Sandow won the Money in the Bank, and then it just kind of didn't do anything.
Yeah.
At some point, it's got to be hard for them to have 5 or 6 storylines or here's how we fucked you over, but we're redeeming ourselves. Because then half the show is about, you're basically admitting that you fucked over half the roster, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why there is a draft in this whole thing in the first place. It was easiest way to clean reset.
Yeah.
Do you think Rhino being the tag team champions or one half of the tag team champions is going to help his polling numbers?
Oh man!
Valid question. Did you see his shirt?
Yeah,
it's like vote for Rhino. He'll fight for you. And I'm like, oh my god, this is fantastic.
So are we cool with that?
Yeah. I was just gonna mention. I also like that Rhino has a crush on Renee Young.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's great.
So for me, I want to keep pumping the Miz and how great the Miz is. The segment before with Bryan.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Continuing that, which is great. And Miz has been putting on great matches and being a great heel for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad he's kind of getting this extended chance to do that.
Yeah.
And the match with Ziggler. I mean, Ziggler always has good matches.
Yeah.
And so those guys put on a great match.
Yep.
That's awesome. We will take this moment to acknowledge that they called out Punk with their little.
Yeah, Miz dove in, tried to throw a punch, and then basically didn't get anything in, and then Ziggler wrapped around it was.
But we're gonna talk about Punk.
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Punk in the next podcast.
Yeah, but they Punk did have his UFC match, and they did reference the very brief. It only took one move to reference that match.
Yeah.
So there was that.
My only problem here is Ziggler feels very tacked on.
Yeah.
Miz feels like he's feuding more with Daniel Bryan than he's
Ziggler
with anyone else.
feels very tacked on is the description of all his
career.
Feuds for the last couple of years.
It's I loved this match 100% of the time. I knew Miz was going to win as much as I wanted Ziggler to. Also, Maurice and her costuming is on point.
Maurice is the best.
She's fantastic. She knows her role. She commits to it. She's a valet. She's there. She sprays shit. She cheats and she wins, and it's awesome.
What's going to be good about this is my hope and my dream is through the months of watching or the month of watching SmackDown and the commentary and a lot of stuff is Ziggler keeps saying that if this doesn't work out, I got to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to retire.
No,
he's so going to go heel though. I
really hope so. I love heel Ziggler.
Ziggler heel is great
Ziggler's
stuff.
The fucking best.
But yeah, I think that's what's going to end up happening. Either that or Ziggler's going to NXT is the only other different thing that I can see him doing. Because
That would actually work because NXT's in sort of a rebuilding period.
Oh yeah.
No, it actually wouldn't because the male roster on NXT is so stacked right now.
Yeah.
Ziggler, he would just go down to NXT and lose constantly.
He could just go heel in a heel way would be good. If he's gonna go heel via another I will steal your girlfriend kind of way, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want to do that again.
Though if they kept this feud going and actually turned both of them and fucking Ziggler steals Maurice, that would be hilarious and dumb.
Like what should have happened with Lana.
Yeah.
But do it right.
Yeah, basically that was actually sort of going places, except for the part where then I guess back room they're getting actually married. We don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rusev actually wants to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about AJ Ambrose.
Yeah.
Match was fucking dope.
It was match of the night.
And
Interesting.
I think what was the comment Kyle that you had or the thing that you read?
Yeah, I read the thing on Cage Side Seats, which is not a thing that agrees with your two views of the match, which is interesting. It was talking about how great AJ was building him up. Also, Dean Ambrose was in the match.
Yeah.
It was more, I think that guy's view was more he was just giving so much praise to AJ that no matter what, he was going to outshine Ambrose.
There's two people in that match, and there's a reason why AJ did well. And because
Yeah.
Ambrose was there. And you could argue that, Ambrose put AJ over.
Yeah.
AJ's still relatively new to WWE. He joined in January. And Ambrose has been around and done his time.
Yep.
For someone who doesn't care about the technical wrestling, I think you could make that case that Ambrose puts AJ over. For someone who likes the fucking wrestling, AJ is the bomb.
Oh, he's amazing.
And Dean Ambrose is kind of he's all right.
Mm-hmm. I love that he's making the announcer call him the new face that runs the place.
Yeah.
That's
great.
I
love it.
I also loved him being a dick to jobbers backstage.
Oh, that was so good.
And he's still consistently wearing the John Cena never give up armband.
As you should.
It's just
it goes back into
consistency. It's great.
Consistency and also giving the weight because just like with Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, the 1 in 21 and 1 keep telling them that.
You know what I want?
What?
I want, it doesn't have to be for titles, but I want without any heel or face changing, AJ versus Miz just ego match.
Oh,
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
Champion
probably
versus
too many.
champion.
Yeah, I think there'd be too many eggs in one basket for them probably.
Yeah, probably.
But just that would be fun.
Yeah.
I think they'd both do such a great job. It'd be an awesome match.
So something I realized, just kind
WrestleMania
of
quality.
reviewing what was happening with the shows and just putting together notes for the recording, Shelton Benjamin was supposed to be coming back to SmackDown and then didn't because apparently he has a torn rotator cuff because that's the new hotness in WWE.
Yep.
Do you think that maybe propelled Miz to try even harder to be the upper mid card guy?
Oh, absolutely.
Because he was going to originally be sharing the role with Shelton Benjamin, and now he's not. It's all him carrying that. So
it's not only that. I mean, there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of injury, a lot of suspensions.
Yeah.
I mean, as a matter of fact, I think the reason why they turned Carmella was the fact that Eva Marie is still suspended.
Yeah.
And mind you, the spotlight thing makes way more sense with Eva Marie than it ever did with Carmella.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that have had to change because of the fact that people are either fucking up or getting fucked up.
It's part of why wrestling is awesome, right?
Yeah.
The storyline changes based on real world events.
Yes.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Whether they admit them or not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We can make a quick note that Del Rio was officially let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
And then it sounds like Paige is leaving WWE.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, Del Rio, I guess, needs a nanny or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Paige could still do well outside of WWE just because of her family
Yeah.
and everything that happens there, but she's not going to get the attention that she was getting at WWE.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a mistake for her.
Yeah.
I think, going back to your comment about the upper mid card and stuff, Miz is basically done with the IC belt. What Cena did, the U.S. title.
Yes.
Elevating it, and
Yeah.
he did it in a different way, which is cool.
Yeah.
Not the open challenge, but his own way as a heel, which is awesome.
I'm going to feud with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they needed that.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, it worked. So overall, I mean,
It'll be interesting to see where they go, right?
yeah.
They've got some momentum now.
Yeah, yes. I will say that.
What are they gonna do with it?
It's getting better than where it was. I still think that the pay-per-view, to me, was average. To me. I thought the AJ match was phenomenal, but everything else...
I think that's just a little too harsh because, man, average for them is really shitty. average WWE pay-per-view for me is like...
Really, after this year? This year we had like we're in the renaissance period of like fucking WWE, and we've got nothing but like crazy good pay-per-views. Like,
I was gonna have a sentence to finish. But...
Okay.
Oh shit!
I mean, the point is basically like average to me isn't good, and so to say it's average, like, are you saying in that it's average for them, which means it was good, or are you saying it's average like eh?
No,
like,
it was it was average as it was good.
Okay.
It was good. Like average as in a C. If I get a C, like it's not an A, but it's not
hard.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, alright. I mean, I know it's like we're kind of splitting hairs here, but...
If you were to give it a grade.
I would give it a C. 75%.
Okay.
I just think
Solid
it was a
B+.
Yeah, I think it's just above average. That's why I gotta disagree, you know.
It wasn't a breakaway thing, but for what SmackDown needs to do, I think it accomplished what it
I mean, a lot of that might just be because we hold SmackDown with such little regard.
Yeah.
That,
we're
like,
shitty wrestling fans.
yeah, that, I mean, you guys are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, fine, let's wrap it up, jeez. I get too much hair splitting with Ray's technical terms and stuff. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and on Facebook.com/OnTheHeelsWP. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube, so you can listen to us in multiple places.
Yeah.
So hit that subscribe button, leave a comment in the iTunes store, give us a 5-star rating, thumbs up, whatever you need to do so that more people can find us. And tell, of course, your wrestling buddies about the podcast. Feel free to tweet or message us random wrestling shit, and we will respond and share.
Thank you for listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. Tune in to our next episode. We'll be covering 2 topics. We'll be talking about the UFC 203, which featured CM Punk's debut.
Wait, what?
He
Sorry.
Yeah, it was a thing. And also our review of 12 Rounds 3 Lockdown, which is a WWE film starring Dean Ambrose.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, spoilers? We like this.
It was so good. Oh, my God.
And then after that, we'll ask ourselves the eternal question, do we actually need to start talking about SmackDown?
I think having Ray ask that question was totally the wrong thing.
He's fucking pained visibly as he's
I
saying
saw like
it.
his face just like turning as like he was.
We gotta watch SmackDown.
I might. I'm excited.
But I'm the one man.